command. We're in the middle of describing the Mishkan, the Beis HaMikdash, the Mikdash, the temple that exists in the desert. So in Truma, it discusses the chefts, or the object itself of the Mishkan, talking about what are the Kliya Mishkan, what is the structure of the Mishkan, what are the vessels that are in the Mishkan. And this week's Titzaveh is a continuation of this idea of building the Mishkan, but now it's talking about the Gavra, the person himself who's serving in the Mishkan, which is the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol, the high priest and the other priests, exactly what the garments they should wear and how they initiate this process, and specifically about the garments. Now, the way the Parsha opens up is V'ata Titzaveh, V'ata, a continuation, V'ata, and now you shall command. And the instructions is to Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe should command, V'ata Titzaveh, Moshe should command. The very interesting thing about this week's Parsha is this is the first time since we find Moshe Rabbeinu, for instance, the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu is mentioned. This is the first and only time that Moshe Rabbeinu's name is omitted from the entire Parsha. His name does not appear in the Parsha. Later on in Chumash Dvarim, in the fifth book of the Torah, Moshe's name is not mentioned in many of the Parshas, but that's different because over there in Dvarim, it's Eila Dvarim Asher Diba Moshe. Moshe is the one that's actually speaking the words of Dvarim, Deuteronomy. This is a repeat. It's a Mishnah Torah. Moshe is repeating the words of the Torah that happened. So Moshe himself is speaking, so it makes sense that his name doesn't appear. But up until Dvarim, from the birth of Moshe, this is the only parsha in the Torah that his name does not appear. So we have to understand why his name does not appear. But let's start with what the Zohar begins. The Zohar in this week's parsha, which is the beginning of Parsha Titzaveh, in the page 179b. Go find this. So the Zohar says like this: and you shall command the people of Israel, and you shall. Chia says, why is it different over here that it doesn't say Moshe's name, but it says Va'ata and you shall, and it brings different psukim that's similar to why does it say V'ata and you shall command? This is teaching us the secret, the divine, the supernal secret. That V'ata means that you should include the Shechina with you. That V'ata, the word Ata means include also the Shechina, which is Malchus, which is the world of presence, of the immediacy of life, of the immediacy of the experiences of life and the divine expression within life. So what is V'ata? It says V'ata, Vav, and then Ata. So Ata is Malchus. Ata means presence. Ata is, the letters Ata is the masculine of you. Aleph, Taf, Hey. Aleph is the first letter of the Aleph base of the Hebrew alphabet, and Taf is the final. Ata is S, like the word S, which is a word that's not found in other languages, but S means and include also. So Ata means S, Aleph to Taf, the letters from the beginning to the end, which means the beginning of sound to the end of sound, all the vibrational possibilities. And the Hey refers to Malchus. In the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the four letters name of Hashem, the final Hey represents Malchus. So V'ata Tzav Amri Yitzchak, Nahari Lov and Eretz Talk Kalik Echadam. The higher light and the lower lights are included within one. Begin to have a Zim the Shara Shimsha Vesira, because at this point there was the resting of the sun within the moon, and everything was included within each other. So Vav, in the four letters name of Hashem, the Vav represents Zohar Ampin, the Midas, the attributes, the divine attributes. So Ve'ata is the Chibur, the unification between the Vav, which is Zohar Ampin, or Kutsha Brichu, the transcendence, and Hey, which is the immediacy. So Va'ata Titzaveh, and you shall command, means that you should draw down the Kutsha Brichu, you should draw down from the place of transcendence, and you should draw it down into the place of Malchus, which is into the creation, in the world as it is. So V'ata Titzaveh means you shall command, means that you have the potential. Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, telling all of us, because every person has a nitzah of Moshe, that Hashem is telling us that V'ata Titzaveh, you have the obligation to Titzaveh, to make a connection. Lashon Tzivah, a connection is V'ata. You have the ability to draw down from the place of transcendence, from a place of beyond, a place of spirituality, of ruchnis, of divinity, and you have the koyach, you have the strength to draw it down into the aleph and the taf, and all the way into the malchus of this world, in the presence of this world. Hashem says, this is the avodah v'yid, this is the avodah we're supposed to be doing, this is the work, the spiritual work that we're supposed to be doing, is to draw down, to take the world as it is, which is the malchus, the presence of the world as it is, and to draw down even a higher level of transcendence and divinity and light and holiness and spirituality into this world. That's the work, that's the bechira, that's the place of our free choice. And we have this ability. We have this ability to draw down. That we're beings that have the possibility of drawing down higher levels of spirituality, higher level of elikus, of divinity within this world. That's V'ata Titzaveh. We started off that this idea that Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned in this entire parsha. So there's multiple reasons where we can understand this. The most simple reason why Moshe Rabbeinu's name is omitted, simple pshat, literal interpretive reason why Moshe's name is not mentioned, is because this is really a continuation of Hashem's speech to Moshe. Hashem is speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu and telling him already in Parshas Titzaveh to build the Mishkan and to build the vessels of the Mishkan. And as a continuation, Hashem is in the middle of transmitting the wisdom. Moshe is in the middle of a prophetic vision, prophetic transmission. And V'ata Titzaveh is a continuation. V'ata, now you shall continue, and you should also tell Bnei Yisrael. This is the simple reason why Moshe's name is not mentioned. But everything happens for a deeper reason, of course. Everything is by hashgacha pratis, everything is by divine providence. Certainly, things that occur within the Torah itself, in the revelation of Torah, is specifically a divine providence, that Moshe's name is specifically not mentioned in this parsha. So it's brought down. Some Parshat Torah brings down that the reason why Moshe's name is not mentioned is because Moshe Rabbeinu, here in this week's parsha, it's speaking about the Kohen Gadol, specifically again the Gaver, the person that's going to serve in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Mishkan. So when Moshe says Shlach lo b'yatishlach, when Hashem was told Moshe Rabbeinu that he wants them to be the person to take the Klal Yisrael out of Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu says Shlach lo b'yatishlach, send somebody else, and the Medrash says that really Moshe Rabbeinu, the Kuna belonged also to Moshe Rabbeinu. That Moshe Rabbeinu should have been the high priest, should have been the Kohen Gadol, like originally Moshe was in the first 7 days. And the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu lost the Kuna and it was given over to Aaron is because he says Shlach no b'yad tishlach. Since he said send with somebody else, so that privilege was lost. So therefore, in the parsha that speaks about the Kohen Gadol, Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned. This is one reason it's offered. The Balaturim, the commentary of Yaakov Turim, or the Balaturim writes that since Moshe Rabbeinu said, Moshe Rabbeinu said, erasing from this book, that if you're going to forgive the people after the sin of the golden calf, if you're going to the people or not, after erasing from this book, so therefore, since Klulus Chacham Afilat Tanai, the Gemara says that the curse of a Chacham, of a wise person, of a tzaddik, even if it comes unconditioned, even if it's conditional, it has an effect. So therefore, since Moshe says Macheina B'Sifrecha, raised from the book, so in one of the books of the Torah, which is one of the parshas of the Torah, Moshe's name is omitted. But we have to understand why specifically in this week's parsha. Besides that, it's connected to the Kohen Gadol. So there's another interpretation. It's often by the Gra, and it's brought on other Svarim, that the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned in this week's parsha, because this is the parsha that Moshe Rabbeinu passes on. That in the reading of the parshas, when the parshas are divided in a way that the parshas are divided in a 1 year cycle, so Zayin Adar, which is the day of Moshe's passing, generally happens during this time period, like it happened. Zayin Adar was last week, but this time period. So since Zayin Adar is the time of Moshe's passing, so to hint to the idea that Moshe was nifta, and Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Zayin Adar, the seventh day of Adar, Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned. This is one of the reasons. And an allusion for this, another hint to this idea, another emes for this idea is that Moshe, the name of Moshe Rabbeinu is spelled Mem Shin Hey. When you spell out the letters Mem Shin Hey, which is the Miloi, Mem Mem, and Shin is Shin Yud Nun, and Hey is Hey Aleph, so the filling letters together, which is Mem 40, Yud 10, Nun 50, and Aleph 1, the filling letters spell is 101, which is exactly the number of psukim in this week's parsha. That in the portion itself, there's 101 psukim, and 100 is the idea, 101 psukim, which is alluded to the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away in this parsha. Incidentally, the difference between Zohar and Tishka and Shachach, between remembrance and forgetfulness, which is 227 and 328, is 101, and that's what the Gemara says, that in order to remember really what you learn, and connected specifically to memory and the lack of forgetfulness is 101 Kimavor and so on. So this is an idea that because Moshe Rabbeinu passes on, therefore his name does not appear in this week's parsha. But the truth is that the same Gemara that speaks about that Moshe Rabbeinu was born passing, that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Zayin Adar, and the Gemara does a calculation exactly how he reached Zayin Adar, is also the similar Gemara. The Gemara brings down in Megillah. The Gemara talks about the story of Purim, and the Gemara says that Haman threw a lottery and it fell out in the month of Adar, and he was happy because he said Moshe Rabbeinu passed away this month, but he didn't know that Moshe Rabbeinu was also born. Hashem fills the days of a tzaddik day to day, which means that Moshe Rabbeinu actually passed away in the day of his birth, which is that not only is the day of Zayin Adar connected to the day of Moshe's passing, but Zayin Adar is also connected to the day of Moshe's born. So it's possible, another way of saying this is that the reason why the name of the Parsha, the reason why Moshe's name is not mentioned in this week's Parsha is connected specifically to the day that Moshe Rabbeinu was born. Because a name is a description or a particular purpose that a person has in his life. Certainly a name is a way that people call someone. Alter Rebbe explains this many times in the last week's parsha as well, that the whole idea of a name only exists when there's someone else that needs to call you. A person for himself doesn't need his name, even though there's the idea of Shema Garam and Meir Daik B'Shema. Certainly there's a name that's connected to our essence. But the essence of a person is beyond his name, beyond their name. There's the person's description. We say a person, describe them within a name or a certain attribute. You say the person is a kind person and a smart person, a intelligent person, a talented person. These are all descriptions of who a person are. And then there's the essence of the person. There's the essence of a person, who they are, which is transcendent or precedes their existence. It's not that existence creates the essence, which is one way of thinking about it, but actually it's the opposite, which means that a person has a certain essence, a quality of who their essence of they are. And then there's a reflection of this essence in their existence, in their expression. So the reason that the name does not appear in this week's Parsha is because we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, and we say Ve'ata, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu in his essence. There's Moshe Rabbeinu who in his expression, which Moshe also, where Moshe is in a Mayim Shasiyu, represents the coming out of water and moving into dry land, which is obviously connected to the giving of the Torah, which is waters like Torah, and the parting of the sea, which is moving from a place of chaos to the place of stability, to going from the place of water to dry land. So this is all representative of Moshe's mission in this world and his book, the life story that he's saying. Because every person is an author to their own book. This is one level of the person. That's like the autobiographical part of self, the part that they're describing who they are and living their full life. And Moshe Rabbeinu has his book, and is part of that book, part of the Sefer. But then there's an essence that's even deeper than that. That's something that's about Vi'ata. Vi'ata is you, the essence of Moshe. So let's understand this Kaviyachul. Let's understand this Kaviyachul, how we understand this, as if we understand this with regards to Kadosh Baruch Hu, with regards to Hashem. So there's Ata, this idea of Ata. So we said from the Zohar, you see over here, that the Zohar is saying that Ata, The word Ata from Aleph Tav to Hey represents the everything, the fullness of the reality as present, the malchus, the beingness of reality. There's a long conversation that the Ramak or Meshach Kadavera has in the Parshas of Titzaveh, Sharach Kenuim, Shar 2023. The Ramak talks at length about this word Ata. What is the name Ata? So the Ramak writes that in great length, but in short, he brings down from Sefer Or, he says that Tiferes is called Ata. That the attribute of Tiferes, of compassion, of harmony, that's called the word Ata, you. And he says this is also brought down in Tikkunim, it's also brought down in the Zohar, that in Tikkunim, Tikkun Yud Tes, in the 19th Tikkun, that Ata refers to Tiferes. But then he says that it's found in the Zohar, in Parsha Seikev, that he says that the Zohar explains that Ata is Raza de Yamina. Ata represents the right side, the revealing side, which is the attribute of chesed, of kindness. And then he brings down the Sabbath Mishpatim. He brings down another Zohar, piece of Zohar, which is from a few weeks ago. In Mishpatim, it says, no, that Ata is Malchus, which we learned in the Zohar as well, in Parsha of Titzaveh, that Ata is connected to Malchus, to presence. Then finally, the Ramak writes a word there, and he says, Ata refers to Olam Hanigla, the world of the revealed, which means the reality that is right here, right now, that is always there. So what does Ata mean in reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? When we're talking about Hashem, Ata, you, there is the Hashem as a revealing of infinity. And there's an Elohim, which is Hashem revealed within the finitude or within the concealment of creation. And then there's Ata. You know, when a person makes a bracha, you say, Baruch Ata. It's explained in Chassidus that Baruch, when a person says Baruch, blessing, which is the idea of Baruch means not that you are blessed, but you are the Reish Kol HaBrachas, you're the source of all blessing, the Makar Kol HaBrachas, you're the source of all blessings. When a person makes a bracha and says, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu, bless you, or you are the source of blessings, Hashem, the infinite one, Elokeinu, our God, what we're saying is that we're drawing down, Baruch Lahavir, we're drawing down this light, we are the one that's drawing down this light from Ata, from you, the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the essence of your being, Kaviyachal, that becomes revealed in the Madrega, it becomes revealed in the level of Hashem, that becomes revealed in infinity, becomes revealed in the level of Lukim, that becomes also the Melech HaOlam, becomes the king, the master of all concealments, or the master of the universe, which means we're drawing down from the highest place, and the highest place is not a high or a low. The highest place is not a place that has opposites. It's not that it's infinite in contrast to finitude, or that it's high in contrast to low. The highest and deepest place is you, Ata, Olam Hanigla, what is right here, right now, which is always you. There's only you, and the you, when we're directing our attention and kavanah towards Ata, to you, we're saying the you that's ever present, that doesn't fluctuate. There is no movement. It doesn't express itself in a particular expression. Because if it's expressing itself in a particular expression, then it means it cannot express itself in the other expression. And that's the place of movement. And the Ata is the you of Hashem, Kaviyachal, what it is, that always is present for always, for all eternity, before and after and always. The pasuk in the Tehillim, it says, "Esak Shemaim Shamata." If I rise to heaven, Shamata, there you are. Esak, so it's brought down that Esak is 161. It was the name of Shem Eka, Aleph Hey Yud Hey, which is the name of the Hashem of the unfolding, the present, the movement, the aliyahs, the ups and downs. In Esak Shemaim, if I go up, which means wherever I'm going, if I'm going up or I'm going down, in Esak Shemaim, there's always the name Ata, the you that's always present. Therefore, this is the name that's B'shav Galav Ata T'Shapchem. That even if there's the ups and downs, the waves of life, but I'm connected to the Ata. Therefore, it's brought down in Svarim that the name Ata is appropriate for a person that has to weather the waves of an ocean. And this is whether it's literally or metaphorically. When there's the ups and downs, when there's movement and there's constantly ups and downs in a person's life, there is Vatzia She'el, there's an Esach Shemaim Shamata, there's the name, there's a Shem Ata, there's the name of Ata, which is you, which is always present there. This is similar, it's also brought down in other forms, both Marsham Shash Tupala, the Bnei Sasra quotes it. When it speaks about the story of Chanukah, and it speaks of Ata Bracha Mecharam, you in your great abundance of kindness. And it's brought down that Hashem brings down from the Rav Shash Tupala, the Bnei Sasra brings down that sometimes when a person is going through hardships and a person is going through a place of din and constriction, a place of Gehenna, a person feels like their life is in hell and very complicated and difficult and a lot of hardship, is Hashem Shalech Matzadik Malach Echad V'Koisel Mitzcha Shem Ata. That the Hashem writes the name Ata on this person, on this angel. Like it says in the Pasuk, Gam Ki Elach V'Getzam Avos, even I walk in the shadows of death, I will not fear Ra Ki Ata Imani, because the Ata is with me. So what is the idea of the Ata? The Ata means you. There's a relationship that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's a relationship that I have with Hashem that's constantly fluctuating. Sometimes I'm feeling more a revealing of Hashem's presence, sometimes I'm feeling more of Hashem's kindness in my life, and sometimes also feeling more of constriction of Hashem's light. Sometimes I feel the Oyer Chesed, the light of Chesed, and sometimes I feel the Oyer Gevurah, the light of Gevurah. But beyond all those expressions, beyond the Galav, beyond all the waves of life, the ups and downs, and the darkness and the light, and the hardships and the euphoric moments, and the joy and the sadness, beyond all that, there's always the Ata. There's always the Shem Ata, the name Ata, where I connect with the essence of Hashem that's beyond all those things, includes all those things as well, but it's beyond that, and therefore it's always present. So when I connect with the name Ata, I'm connecting with the essence, and the essence is never changing. Etzem is built in Mishtana. The essence doesn't change. The essence always is. And I'm connecting with the isness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which always is with me. And the Shem Ata that's always with me. This is with our relationship with Hashem. And this is what the Torah is also saying, and what the Zohar is speaking about, and the Torah is speaking about, telling us that Parsha of Titzaveh, that there is a madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu, there's a madrega within ourselves, it's part of ourselves that's connected to a specific way of our being in this world and a specific mission that we're being in this world. But then there's also the Ata. You should know there's an Ata, there's a you, there's an essence of you that's connected to the Ata of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's connected to the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that essence connection is always present. And that's no matter whether you're fluctuating high or fluctuating low, and if you're Balei Zchus HaNeir, whether you're kindling the menorah and the menorah is beautiful, or the menorah is not yet lit, and everything that's the possibility of movement, and the whole idea of the Mishkan is the place of the movement and the sound and the vibrations, and all that places of where the angels move, and there's lots of movement. There's also a place of Ata Titzaveh, and that's the place of our birthright. There's a place that's before we have a name, before we have a description, before we live our lives already, before we have anything that's added to who we are, that's brought upon ourselves through our own thoughts, through our own words, through our own actions. There's the essence, the core of who we are. The core of who we are is always in connection, always in its essence, in its atzmius, in its ata, in its essence connection is always connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the way we live this way is to always be connected to Shem Ata. No matter what we're going through life, always to recognize that there's the name Ata. Hashem is always there forever and always. Have a wonderful Shabbos.